Hey everybody, thank you for coming out today to see how the experts at Domino's are using Workstream to hire right now. Today we're going to talk through a handful of different ways that a lot of franchise owners of Domino's locations are utilizing Workstream and texting to be able to engage candidates quickly and move them through the hiring process. So we'll talk through a few different strategies here and what they're using specifically in their hiring process. But one of the feedback we often get with a lot of multi-unit franchise owners is making sure that you're able to engage with candidates as quickly as possible and engaging in a way that they understand and typically communicate. What we found in the industry is a lot of organizations are still using email as a form of engaging with candidates. And the candidates you're trying to hire typically don't have emails or don't check them very often. And so Workstream utilizes texting to engage candidates real time and can allow candidates to be able to go through the application and even onboarding process all via texting. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. We also help you automate all of your job postings to over a dozen job boards. And we'll show you what that looks like, but it allows you to cast a wider net to be able to get more diverse and unique ways of getting candidates in the door. With COVID and everything going on, we've helped a lot of Domino's organizations move to contactless hiring. And what they typically want to see is assess for culture fit within their organization and make sure that these are the operators aren't spending a lot of time with candidates that maybe don't fit the profile that they're looking for. And so what we often see is these owners want to utilize 30-second videos where a candidate can upload an introduction of themselves, and managers, hiring managers, district managers, and owners can go in and see these videos to assess if these are the type of candidates that might fit the culture for what they're looking for. When it comes to onboarding documents, I'll show you a few things today of how Domino's is using onboarding through Workstream to be able to sign offer letters, collect W-4, I-9 documents, employee handbook documents where candidates are signing those, and being able to centralize all of those documents into Workstream. And then depending on what HRIS system they're using, we can help push to your HRIS, or in a lot of ways what we're seeing is people just want to go paperless. In the world that we live in today with COVID and everything, keeping candidates off-site, but allowing them to onboard virtually has been critical. We'll talk a little bit about our WOTC integration. If you're not familiar with WOTC or hiring for WOTC, go to our blog. There's some great content around how you as a business owner, district manager, how your business can claim up to $9,600 every year, depending on the type of candidates that you are hiring. We'll talk a little bit about that today. Okay. We'll walk into a demo and some of the secrets behind Domino's hiring. Let me log in here. Okay. So when you first log into Workstream, what you'll notice here is kind of your dashboard of everything that you need to see as a hiring manager. You'll have your schedule here that will populate on the left. When candidates automatically schedule their interviews via texting, your interviews will populate here on the left. You'll kind of get a summary of what happened the previous week. So any new applications you've received, new hires you've made, or jobs you've posted. And you'll have a to-do list here. A lot of times your text messages with candidates will all populate here, so you can quickly see which candidates you need to text back, any candidates that you need to onboard or push through the onboarding experience. I'm going to come up here to our positions in the top. On the left-hand side, I have my different locations. So Multi-unit owners, you can populate your different locations here. You click add location, you can add your location name, and this will determine which positions you have available at each location. And as candidates are automatically scheduling their interview, this will allow them to know which location they're applying for. You can also break it down by different different departments that you might have. Front of house, back of house. You can add the different departments, and that way you'll be able to sort candidates that way. You'll notice in my location here, I have my 3 different roles that Domino's typically hires for. For Domino's, we can pre-populate these roles and this entire process for you as well. So you don't have to rethink the process, the messaging, and everything here. But I can quickly see how many candidates have applied today. You can see how many candidates I have in progress, how many I've hired, my total number of applicants. These jobs, depending on when you're hiring them, I can publish them off and on really easily right here. If I need to, I can export this information. Creating new roles is as easy as duplicating the position, and it will create a new position exactly the same. Let me publish this role real quick, and we'll take a look at what this actually looks like. If you see here, so this is an example of a general manager posting. This is what the candidate will see from their experience. So whether they click through a job board that we integrate with and will post automatically for you, or if they come to your own website that you have, we can help you. We'll post all your jobs for you, and the candidate will see this experience. So I'll actually walk through what the candidate experience will look like specifically and what the texting experience will look like. So I'm going to put myself in here as a candidate. Let me put my personal. This is my cell phone number. Feel free to reach out to me or text me if you ever want. You can make the optional resume here. I'm going to say I'm looking for a full-time position. I can legally work in the US, and I have 1 year of management experience. You can customize this information to however you want. This is what we specifically see for Domino's in the general manager roles. And once I should type my email, right, or my phone number, 65214. Once I submit an application as a candidate, I'll immediately get a text message. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. So let me pull the text message up. Okay, so I just got a text message. You probably can't see that, but me as the candidate, I've just applied for the role, and it basically says, hey, great news, we move you to the next stage of the application process. Okay, so what you'll see here is then I get a link that I'm going to click into as the candidate. And it's going to take me through a handful of different questions here. And I'll show you what that looks like here on the back end when we set up this process. These are the questions that I'm seeing as a candidate. These are fully customizable to whatever we want. The Domino's owners that we've worked with, this is specifically their process and how they have built this out so it fits what they're looking for when it comes to hiring for these locations. So as a candidate, I'm going to fill this out. We can customize these questions however you want. I can add additional questions. It can be different types. I can do file uploads. If I want to do a 30-second video, we'll do a file upload and do a video introduction of myself. And then what we've done here on the back end, oftentimes the feedback we get for these type of roles is that people don't show up to their interviews, and or they forget to proceed through the application process, or they get stuck at a certain stage. And so we've built some automation rules that basically say if the candidate hasn't responded within 1 day or haven't filled this information out, we'll automatically send them a text message to remind them to come back in and continue with the application process. We've also put some automatic rejection in here. So if they've either been in this first stage for 30 days, we'll automatically reject them for you. This is fully customizable to however many days you want. We've also put in some smart questions on this first page. So essentially, if they can't work legally within the US, or they don't have 1 year of management experience, then it will automatically reject those candidates. And you can set this up to send them a notification or not, and then you can continue to screen those applicants if you'd like. You can customize the automated messages that go out to candidates. So it can be specific to your store, your role, your business, however you want. In the second stage here, so once I, as an applicant, fill out this information, I automatically advance to the second stage. I'll get another text message and I'll get asked these questions. These are just different types of questions that you, as a hiring manager, district manager, owner, can filter through that we've built out specifically for Domino's, because they found that this is what makes them most successful in hiring candidates. And then what happens is all my candidates go into a hiring pool. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'll come in here. This is my profile. I'm just going to advance myself real quick to the hiring pool stage. And the hiring pool is where the feedback we get is that district managers or hiring managers, general managers want to go back at night and they want to be able to quickly review all the candidates that they've had for the day. So all my candidates will populate here once they've basically filled out the application process. I can see when I applied, how many days I was in this stage. I can click into my information here and I can see exactly how I answered all the questions in the previous stages. I can text, excuse me, I can text back and forth. Sorry, let me move this thing. Let me refresh this real quick. Here we go. There we go. Okay, I can text back and forth with the candidate right here. So if I want to communicate real time, we can say, hey, look for interview. That'll text the candidate. I'll get a text message right now for that. I can provide feedback. So if there's multiple steps in the hiring process, and in the Domino's that we work with, a lot of times the store manager is involved. And depending on the type of role, a district manager might be involved. I can provide feedback. So this is visible within the organization and I can see who's involved in the hiring process. Any of the files that you collect in the hiring process, maybe an application, W-4, I-9 documents will all be collected here. So you can see in the candidate, if I were to text back, we can have a real-time conversation here. And then I can proceed to the next step if I want, which would be a phone interview stage. In this scenario, what this will do is send the candidate a text message and automatically allow them to schedule their interview. So in this case, I don't have my calendar synced here. We'll do manually. I can add some time slots and say, maybe I want to schedule here and here. Oh, those are, sorry, here and here. And I'll allow that candidate to schedule within those own days. It will send them an invite. In this case, I would sync my calendar. It'll send them an invite and allow them to select any of these times to come in for an interview. Okay. Once the candidates decide to select, I'll show you one thing. This is the feedback we get all the time, is that candidates either don't schedule an interview, don't show up to their interviews. There's a really high ghosting rate. What we'll do for you is actually automate the communication before the interview and reminders. So your team's not having to go in and remind their interviews, nor are they wasting time waiting for interviews to show up. So we built some automation rules in this stage that say basically 1 hour before the interview, send them a reminder. You can set, in this scenario, the feedback we received is 1 day and 1 hour before. And then we'll send them a calendar invite and then actually confirm the event that it is happening or not. We can adjust the messaging here. So now in a COVID world we live in, a lot of Zoom interviews are taking place. So you can actually add your Zoom link in here so that the candidate can get the Zoom link of that they're going to be logging into to do their virtual interview. Okay, we'll come back here and we'll decide that, let me move myself to the next stage here. We'll decide if I came on for my interview and I was a phenomenal candidate. In this case, I don't have the onboarding document, but we can upload your offer letter in here, and your candidates can go in. They'll get an offer via a text message. They can click into that, and they can sign right there with their finger. If I come back here to my positions, so that is the hiring process that we've built out and seen oftentimes for Domino's. This is already pre-populated. We do this for a handful of different franchises where we have your roles that you're typically hiring for, and we can pre-populate all this for you. So there's very little lift in getting this set up. We can templatize your rejection templates. So a lot of candidates that you might reject, maybe you want to circle back to in 3 or 4 months because you filled the position. You can build out these templates, and then when you reject a candidate, you select which template that you'd like to use. Additionally, we'll integrate your job to all of these job boards here. So Indeed, Glassdoor, Google ZipRecruiter, and many others. We also have the ability to integrate with over 25,000 different job boards that would populate here. Some of them are different sponsored job boards, but if you want to get really niche in the area that you're in, you can sponsor those jobs as well. The share links are really, really popular within Domino's. Everybody has a friend that they go to school with or that is looking for their next job. And so we often hear that they send this link to all of their current employees, and their current employees can blast this out on their social media, send it to their friends, and applicants can come in and text this phone number, and they'll receive an application and can proceed through the application process like we just walked through. There's another way to do it. I can type in a phone number here that allows me to send a text message. It's blocked. Allows me to send a text message. I cannot type my own phone number today. It's probably not going to recognize me because I'm already in the system, but was allow you to send a text message to all of your current employees and collect applications that way as well. If I come up here to applicants, I can sort through all my different applicants depending on what status they're at, what maybe what locations they may have been hiring for or they're looking for. This is a feature that we often see used within this industry. Because Domino's, like I mentioned earlier, they may have candidates that come or employees that come drive for 3 or 4 months for them. They go back to school, maybe they move back in the city a little bit later, and they want to re-engage those candidates. They can come up here to text messages, and I can build filters off of maybe candidates that we've rejected or previous hires. I can come in here and filter all of them and then send mass text messages to these candidates to ask them to reapply for roles. It's a really efficient way to be proactive in how they're sourcing candidates and be able to engage with candidates on a consistent basis. Additionally, we'll give you analytics. One of the feedback we often get, specific with the Domino's owners that we're working with, is they want to get an idea of which stores are hiring consistently and what do those trends kind of look like? Where are we getting candidates from? Where are they most successful in hiring, and where they need to spend more budget on sponsored job boards and things like that. So we'll give you the breakdown of all your different locations in here, the positions that you're hiring for, where they came from, maybe certain filters around dates that you're trying to hire, and then what the source of all these are. In this case, I only have one source, but you might have Indeed, Glassdoor in here. You can see how many total applicants you received, how many are in progress, how many you may have rejected, and so on. You can break that down by position as well, where your applicants are coming from, how many you've hired, and recognize where you should be investing more time and money into hiring these people. The scheduling piece, this is really similar to what we walked through earlier when a candidate schedules, but in the case where we're supporting these Domino's general managers, a lot of times these people are really busy. They live out of their pocket. They're in the stores. They don't necessarily have time to be thinking about scheduling interviews. So Well, we've automated all of that for them so candidates can schedule real time. So they integrate their calendar, in this case, Gmail, and their calendar will populate here so that candidates can freely schedule time to meet with them. And that way they're not, their speed to candidate is really quick and their time through the hiring process is really efficient. Otherwise, the candidates that you're dealing with oftentimes they're applying to 10 other locations and it's a speed game. Who can get to them the quickest and get them engaged as quickly as possible is typically the ones that's going to get them hired. So we'll integrate your calendar here. Your hiring manager's calendar, district manager, whoever else can populate here and candidates can just schedule free in real time here. As an owner of multiple unit location, I want to be able to have the ability to break down my administrative permissions. And so what we've done for some Domino multi-unit owners is when I come in here to manage users, I can add users and I can give them different permission sets that allows them different accessibility in here to different roles. So maybe I'm adding a manager of one location, doesn't need to see all the other locations, just needs to see their location and where their candidates are coming from. And so this will allow them to have visibility based on these different administrative roles into what they need to. We also integrate with an organization like Checker. If you do background checks, we can facilitate all of that within Workstream. Your WOTC credits can also be integrated here as part of an onboarding piece that every candidate fills out a document to see if they're WOTC eligible, then would be an average of $9,600 per year that is credited to the business if you hire those type of people. So we can help build that into this process here. We don't have it in this one specifically. I can create evaluation plans. So if your managers, if you want them kind of grading talent on a similar rubric, this will allow you to build in certain questions that you want them to ask in interviews, allow them to give a different rating on score and provide feedback to candidates. And then you can of course adjust your company name, your brand logo might go here. This is the information that they'll see, that candidates will see as the description within the job postings and job boards. I'm going to pause there. That was, for the most part, some of a peek behind how Domino's is really specializing and honing in their hiring process. Maybe let's go to some Q&A or FAQ. Let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. Okay, so we have a couple questions here. Feel free, if you go into the chat bot, in the chat, I think on the right-hand side, you can ask any additional questions. But one of the questions we have, the first one is, do you help Domino's hire delivery drivers or just store employees? We do. We help delivery drivers. That's obviously the past 6 months has become really high demand. And so, as you can imagine from a candidate experience, the delivery drivers, these people are often in their cars, they're applying from their cell phone, they're on their job driving for someone else typically, but maybe they're looking for a new opportunity. And the speed to candidate, what we found, is so critical because they are in real time getting a text message and proceeding through the application, communicating with hiring managers, all while they've just applied on their phone. So that's really, really popular, that we're helping Domino's and other brands hire delivery drivers right now. The second question, I think we covered this one, but this is a great question. So does Workstream integrate with free job boards? We do. We integrate with over a dozen. I think I showed those a little bit earlier. We also have sponsored jobs if you want to get more niche. But typically what we find is franchise owners use this similar 3 or 4 different job boards, and they can get some pretty good coverage that way. Another question. So as an owner, can I monitor the text messages sent between managers and job applicants? That's a great question. This does come up once in a while. So let me, real quick, let me share this. So as an owner or a district manager, you're going to have full visibility into all of the communication between hiring managers, district managers, and candidates. As multi-unit owners continue to scale, this becomes more and more common as they're really concerned about driving brand consistency through the candidate experience, because not only are these people your candidates, they're your customers. But as I click into these roles, I can see have full visibility into the communication that's going on between the hiring manager and the candidate right here. So this is something that comes up fairly often. Is just helping drive brand consistency through this process. Okay, another question here. Can Workstream set up my job postings, text messages, and calendars, or do I need to learn how to use your platform? Great question. So we will help facilitate all of this process. In fact, with Domino specific, we already have a lot of the roles that you're hiring for. We have the process, we have the templates. It's all done. We've worked with enough owners that we've really refined this process for you, so we can automatically populate all of the job recs, the process, the documents that you're looking for. And if there's anything unique to your business, we have a customer success team that is they're responsible for helping facilitate any of that. And a lot of times with 1 or 2 calls, we can get a lot of that stuff set up and uploaded for you. Okay. Another question. So does Domino's use this to hire CDL truck driver? Let me try that question again. Does Domino's use this to hire CDL truckers as well? That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that specifically. My experience personally has been working with individual unit owners. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to dig on that a little bit more. And that kind of answers the last question here, at least, is how do I talk to someone at Workstream? So a couple different ways. I'll put my personal information is you can email me at blake@workstream.is. Or if you come here to our website, I should share my screen. If you come here to our website, you can come up here to contact us, and there's you can fill out your information here. Otherwise, this is my information. And my phone number, if you feel free to text me or call me anytime. I'm happy to continue answering these questions. I'll pause for a minute if there's any other questions here. Looks like there's one more question here. This is a great question. Is the Domino's settings proprietary, or can we piggyback and not have to reinvent the wheel? This questions happens often with franchise brands. Nothing is necessarily proprietary in here. We've gotten approval to allow to help other business owners to replicate this. So we've designed this specifically for Domino's owners, and this will allow you to come in here and have your jobs, the hiring process pre-populated, and we can work on really just fine-tuning it to your business specifically. But yes, this is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's very little friction in getting Workstream set up and helping and hire the same way that a lot of other Domino's owners are hiring. Any last questions? Okay, there's one more. So do I pay per text message? Do I pay per text message that I send to applicants? You do not. This is unlimited texting. So if you need to go text 10,000 applicants, this gives you the full freedom to be able to do that. You do not have to pay per text message. Okay, any last questions? Okay, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I hope you can learn something new in the way that other Domino's franchise owners are hiring and streamlining their hiring process utilizing texting with candidates. My contact information is here on the screen. Feel free to reach out to myself personally. You can go to our website, contact us. We have a free trial that you can also click through there as well and give it a try. Otherwise, feel free to shoot me a text, reach out to me personally, and we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody.